Hey everyone, it's getting close to the end of the year now, and I thought I'd run down my top 10 images for this year. I kind of borrowed this idea from Paul Cook over at PC Free Photos. He did a video on this recently. So I wanted to give a little shout out to Paul, A, because I borrowed the idea, but B, because he also gave me a little shout out recently when I hit 200 subscribers, and I thought that was really kind. So thanks a lot, Paul, and everyone make sure you go over to Paul's channel, which I'll link up here, and make sure you subscribe. So without further ado, let's have a look at the photos. Okay, so this first one doesn't appear in any of my videos because I actually took this before I started my channel, back in late spring, early summer. It's an alder leaf beetle, and it's a female because when you can see that yellow part on the body, that means they're carrying eggs. It's a macro shot, obviously, and I have taken a few shots and stacked them together for this image. Really quite liked it. It's an interesting little creature. It's quite ugly, but I do like the shiny metallic body, and it's got the face quite well in focus, and the texture on the body. I just wish that I could have got some more of it in focus, like the front antenna and the front leg, maybe the back of the body. So that's why it's not higher up the list. Another one that doesn't feature in any of my videos, I was out trying to get some bird and wildlife photography, and I saw quite a few great tits up in the tree. I think it's a great tit, and I just really like the colours of the background and the bird, and it worked quite well with that branch just going across the bottom of the image. Quite looking up. It'd be nice if it was more head on to the camera rather than looking up, but yeah, it was quite high up in the tree, so there's not really much I could do there. It came out quite nice and sharp, and yeah, like I said, just like the colours. Another one that doesn't feature in any of my videos, this was back before I started the channel again. This is in Edale, in the Peak District, and I was using my Nikon D7500 and my 17 to 55mm lens for that camera, which is a really nice lens. And yeah, it was just a really nice day. It was quite bright and clear. There was just a little bit of cloud in the sky, which gives a little bit of detail. And I've got a colour version of this which I quite like as well, but because of the nice shadows on the rocks there and the harsh midday sun, I thought it was nice to turn it black and white. And yeah, I like the composition and the lighting. I've photographed this tree quite a few times, but I'll link to the video where I actually took this shot. It was midsummer, so it was quite green, quite dense foliage, lots of leaves on the trees, and that creates quite a nice backdrop for the tree, which is the focus of the shot, and those branches twisting around just create a really nice subject, and there's just enough contrast with the reds and browns on those branches to stand out against that background. And I did talk about trying to shoot this with fog, because I really wanted foggy conditions, and I was always trying to go back to the forest to retake the shot with fog. And in the end, it didn't actually come out as well as this one, and I think that's because by the time we had foggy conditions, all the dense green foliage had disappeared. It was much thinner, much more sparse, and you could see way too much of the background. So I think this shot only really works when you've got the really dense, full background to create the backdrop. So coming in at number 6, this is at Padley Gorge in the Peak District. I did a video when I went out and took this shot, so I'll link that up top now, and you can find the link down below as well. I was testing out my new Nikon 14 to 30mm f4 lens, and I think it came out really nice with the wide angle format. It's got those rocks in the foreground, creating a kind of leading line, almost like a triangle going into the middle there. And then you've got that really nice yellow tree as a kind of focal point for the image. Your eye just goes up to that really yellow tree against all the other green background. I probably would have put this higher, except for, and I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there was a little bit of wind on the day, and the tree was moving a little bit, and my shutter speed wasn't quite fast enough, obviously because I was trying to blur the water, and so the tree is a little bit blurry. So just in at 6, but still do really like that image. This one was taken down at Dorset at Chesil Beach. It was very spur of the moment. I think we were driving back, we were on holiday, we were driving back from somewhere else, and the sun was starting to go down. We were passing Chesil Beach, so I thought we'd just stop quickly, run down to the seafront and see what I could get with the sun going down in the background. I actually had my ISO set wrongly for this one. I'd been taking some other shots handheld, and because the light was getting quite low, I was quite high with my ISO, around about 2000. And then when I got down to the shoreline to take this picture, I used my tripod, but just because I was working so quickly, I didn't actually adjust my ISO and I left it on 2000, so it is a little bit grainy. But nevertheless, I still really like this image. I love the colours in it, and that wave has just got the perfect amount of blur in it. This is an image that also hasn't featured in any of my videos. We had an event as part of my local photography club, the Barnsley Photographic Society, where we went out and we took some photos of birds of prey. So some people brought all these various different types of birds of prey. They were great subjects because they've been trained to stay still, and you can get fairly close to them and get great photos. I'm not quite sure what this bird is, unfortunately. I can't remember what type of bird it is. I'm sure anybody who's an expert on birds and things will be able to tell me in the comments below. But yeah, it looks fantastic, and the sun was just going down, and if you look in its eye you can see the sunset reflecting in its eye. So here's one of the more recent images that I took. It's in one of my local woodland areas, and I've been waiting for fog for so long. I finally got some fog on a weekend, and I was able to get out there in the morning and take some great atmospheric shots. And this one's quite minimalist compared to some of the others. There's not too much going on with the branches. It's got a big empty area there in the middle, but it kind of just pulls you in. And yeah, it was mainly the atmosphere of this one that I really liked, and because I've been waiting so long for the fog, it was just really really a bit of a relief, and I was just so happy to get those conditions. So coming in at number 2, we've got this one at Mamtor. It's one of my favourite locations in the Peak District. It's so close to me, I'm really lucky to be able to get there. Yeah, you can see the video where I shot this one. I'll link it up top now, and it's also in the comments below. It was just after I got my brand new Z7 camera, and I wanted to test it out, and I was so lucky that I got such a fantastic sunrise that morning. Quite often you go to the Peak District and it's grey and overcast and you don't get sunrises like that, but it was just really perfect that morning. You got the mist and cloud down in the valley there on either side, and the light on the hillside is just perfect. I think this was just after the summer solstice, so I had to get up really early to get there, but it was well worth it, and that's why it's my second favourite image of the year. So coming in at number 1 is this image. This was taken very recently at Grindleford in the Peak District, and once again got fantastic foggy conditions in the morning. And yeah, Grindleford is such an amazing wood with all these old twisted trees and mossy rocks and things. I really wasn't sure which image to choose between this and the Mamtor image. I think technically maybe the Mamtor image is better. This one's a little bit complex and maybe, yeah, just a little bit too much going on. But I really love all the colours and how they work together with the orange of the tree and the greens on the moss and the blues in the background. And I just really managed to capture what I wanted to capture. So I wanted that really ethereal, enchanted, magical look. And yeah, and it really came out like that. So I think because I achieved what I wanted to achieve with it, I think that's why I'm putting this at number 1. So there you go, that's my top 10. Let me know what your favourites were in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, why not give it a subscribe? You can click the red button down here, or you can also click on my big face over here as well. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. Next week I'm going to be back out in the field. I'm not sure where yet, but hopefully that'll be a good one. So join me for that. Thanks a lot, everyone. Catch you later.